Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome to Emergency Management Associates, coming to you from the Area Command 392 miles west of Kitty Hawk Beach, North Carolina. We want to welcome everybody to our program tonight. For those of you that want to know more about North Carolina and what happened with Hurricane Elaine, stay tuned. We'll cover that in just a few minutes. But folks, I'm going to tell you right now, the river and the water stinks. The Catawba River that we have here stinks. It really does. There's nothing like it that I've smelled in a very long time. And I've been through a lot of stench in my life. The stench is almost intolerable around the Catawba River and up around Asheville, North Carolina. I'm just going to be right out frank with you right now. It's not fun at all. I'm getting what is going on over in Asheville from people that are telling me, but what I've been showing you here in Morganton, the stench is unbelievable. What is going on with those businesses in that long strip mall? It's terrible. Those businesses have employees that are going in and trying to salvage product and throw other product out. And the stench is almost intolerable. I'm just going to tell you that up front. I'm going to talk more about what is going on here in North Carolina in just a few minutes. The first thing I want to talk about is a Longshoreman strike. The Longshoreman strike has been going on now for just about, I want to say, 18 or 19 hours. Midnight last night, the Longshoreman strike started on in full force, and it's ongoing right now. I just want to tell you that. The Longshoreman strike is going to impact all of us. The Longshoreman strike is going to impact all of us. I'm going to tell you that. I thought I had a picture of the strike here. I will put it up for you and just have a shake here. There it is. This is what it looks like over at various harbors, various ports along the East Coast and over in Texas. The Longshoreman strike is going to affect all of us in one way or another. Now, the ports are on strike, halting half the nation's ocean shipping. The strike is going off all over the East Coast and into the Gulf Coast dock workers, and they began their large-scale strike nearly 50 years ago today, halting the flow of about half the country's ocean shipping. After negotiations for a new labor contract broke down over wages, the strike blocks everything from food to automobile shipments across dozens of ports from Maine to Texas. A disruption, analysts warn, will cost the economy billions of dollars a day. Billions of dollars a day, threatening jobs and potentially stoke inflation up to numbers we don't even want to realize. Still, President Joe Biden's administration has indicated it will not use any federal powers to end the strike. Yesterday, when pressured by a dock worker and employers to bump their contract offer to land a deal, President Biden said, no go. No go. The federal government, with the power of the president, is not going to lift a hand to stop the strike. The International Longshoremen's Association Union represents 45,000 port workers along the East Coast and over into Texas. Negotiating with the United States Maritime Alliance, USMX employer group, for a new 6-year contract ahead of a midnight Monday night deadline. The ILA said in a statement that it shut down all ports from Maine to Texas at 12:01 a.m. this morning, Eastern Time, after rejecting the USMX final proposal, adding that the offer fell far short of the demands of its members to ratify a new contract. The ILA's leader, Harold Daggett, you can look up his video on social media and here on YouTube. He said last night that he has the employers in the container ship business, Operator Maersk, that you may have heard from or heard about when the bridge in Baltimore went down. He has talked to the employers, such as the container ship operators and the terminals in North America. They have not offered appropriate pay increases or agreed to demands to stop port automation projects that threaten jobs. Daggett said this morning, quote, "We are prepared to fight as long as necessary to stay on strike for whatever period of time it takes to get the wages and protections against automation our ILA members deserve." The union leader said in a statement that our current offer of a nearly 50% wage increase extends every other recent union contract, while addressing inflation and recognizing the ILA's hard work to keep the global economy running. Daggett said the union is pushing for more, including a $5 per hour raise for each year of the new 6-year contract. A $5 per hour raise per employee for every year over a new 6-year contract. That is why the labor unions said no go. They've not been offered adequate money to keep the labor unions going. They want a 6-year contract and a $5 per hour raise per person over a 6-year time period. The White House weighed in, saying it was time for the union to negotiate a fair contract for workers. Shippers have made record profits since the pandemic, and in some cases have seen profits grow in excess of 800%. Shippers' profits have risen 800%. White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre said, referring to the COVID-19 pandemic that led to a boom in shipping demand, it's only fair that workers who put themselves at risk during the pandemic to keep the ports open see a meaningful increase in their wages as well. Acting Labor Secretary Julie Su said the employer group has refused to put an offer on the table that reflects workers' sacrifice and contributions to their employers' profits. The parties need to get back to the negotiating table that must begin with these giant shipping magnates and acknowledge that if they can make record profits, their workers should share in that economic success. The strike, the ILA's first major stoppage since 1977, is worrying businesses that rely on ocean shipping to export their wares or secure crucial imports. It affects 36 ports, including New York, Baltimore, and Houston, that can handle a range of containerized goods from bananas to clothing to cars. The walkout could cost the American economy roughly $5 billion a day. $5 billion per day. French shipping group CMA-CGM, the world's third largest container shipper, today issued a force majeure notice over the strike and said it may charge additional shipping fees for delayed vessels. Meaning, because of the strike here in the United States, France may charge shipping fees, additional shipping fees for any vessels that are delayed in porting over in France. Now, the National Retail Federation here in the United States called on President Joe Biden's administration to use its federal authority to halt the strike, saying that the walkout could have devastating consequences for the economy. Biden officials have repeatedly said that the Democrat president will not do so. The dispute is waging friendly fire Biden into a virtual no-win position, with Vice President Harris in a razor-thin race for the White House with Republican former President Donald Trump. The U.S. Department of Agriculture said today that it does not expect a significant change to food prices or availability in the near term. Grocery store chain owners Ahold Delhaize also said it expected minimal short-term impact on the supply chain. Backup plans. Hundreds of dock workers demonstrated today in a New York City area shipping terminal in Elizabeth, New Jersey, carrying signs and shouting slogans as music blared and vendors hawked food. The Longshoreman's president arrived to rally them with cheers of ILA all the way. Everything that comes into this country comes from shipping containers off the ships at any of these ports. And I want the world to know it. Don't come after us saying we're greedy. Go after those greedy bastards that own these companies in Europe. That's a quote. Now, retailers accounting for about half of all shipping container volume, along with other shippers, have been busy implementing backup plans to minimize the impact of the strike as they head into the winter holiday sales season. Many of the big players rushed into Halloween and Christmas merchandise early to avoid any strike-related disruptions, incurring extra costs to ship and store those goods. Retail behemoth Walmart, the largest U.S. container shipper, and membership warehouse club operator Costco said they are doing everything they can to mitigate any impact. Danish drug maker Novo Nordisk, meanwhile, said it has workaround plans in place to minimize or prevent any disruption to its production, including using air freight. Lars Jensen, who is a CEO of shipping consultancy Vespucci Maritime, said the strike is unlikely to lead to any critical shortages, but could raise costs for consumers if the strike is prolonged. Now, folks, at the end of the day, you and I are going to pay higher prices. You and I are the consumers who are going to end up paying the bill for this U.S. consumer strike. That's as simple as that. Import costs are going to rise, and those costs are going to be passed on to all of us in the imported products. More than 38 container vessels were waiting at the anchor near U.S. ports this morning, compared to just 3 ships on Sunday. Now, with that said, U.S. shipping company FedEx is going to deploy contingency plans as the port workers strike. Union dock workers strike that began early this morning are impacting dozens of U.S. ports all over the United States. That has triggered shipping giant FedEx to launch contingency plans aimed at minimizing disruption in shipments. Quote, "We are using our vast network capabilities and supply chain expertise to activate contingency plans and provide support for those affected by this situation." So FedEx is going to try to help out. Our top priority, FedEx says, is to maintain the excellent service and our customers' respect. And the FedEx team stands ready to assist. The FedEx spokesman added that any customers with questions about shipments or those affecting transport shipments via air freight are urged to go to the company's website or contact FedEx sales representatives. Now, why are we talking about this? This is an emergency management channel. We talk about emergency-related events all over the world. This is an emergency. The Longshoreman strike is going to affect each and every one of us. Higher prices are going to happen. Absolutely positive, higher prices are going to happen. And it's not just that. Those of you that have been going to the store on a regular basis, you may have noticed more empty shelves. As this strike goes into days and weeks, we are going to see less and less product on the shelf. I don't care whether Walmart or some of these other behemoth retailers say that they've ordered extra product. They may have, but they're not the only retailers that are around. We're going to see less and less product on the shelves, and the prices are going to skyrocket. Now, I'm urging all of you, if you have the wherewithal, go to the stores and get what you need. Go to the stores today or tomorrow and get what you need if you can afford it. Don't and I will say it again, do not put yourselves in a financial crisis to do this. We know this is going to happen, but take care of yourselves first. Take care of yourselves first. Okay? I can't say that strongly enough. Now, something else that happened over the weekend on Sunday. Okay? Something else happened over the weekend on Sunday. Iran attacked Israel. That started on Sunday and lasted pretty much all day long yesterday. Iran launched a total of 181 missiles. The U.S. made and backed anti-missile deployment system kept most of those missiles from striking in their planned spots. The Dead Sea has many missile bodies in the water. The Dead Sea has been seen many rocket bodies laying in the water as a result of the anti-aircraft batteries that the United States military set up to protect Israel. With that said, Netanyahu said that Iran made a big mistake and will pay for it. Israeli leaders vowed Israel would respond harshly after the Iranian regime launched some 190 ballistic missiles at the country on Tuesday evening Israeli time, sending millions of Israelis into bomb shelters every hour. This evening, Iran made a big mistake, and it will pay for it. The regime in Tehran does not understand our determination to defend ourselves and to exact a price from our enemies. Benjamin Netanyahu at the start of the Security Cabinet meeting earlier this evening. Quote, Sinwar and Daif did not understand this, neither did Nasrallah or Mosin. Apparently there are those in Tehran who do not understand this either. They will. We will keep to the rule that we have determined. Whoever attacks us, we attack them. Israeli leaders vowed Israel would respond harshly after the Iranian regime launched some 190 ballistic missiles at the country Tuesday evening, sending millions of Israelis into bomb shelters. Iran made a big mistake. Now, today more than ever, the forces of light in the world must unite and work together against the Ayatollah's dark regime, which is a source of terror and evil in our region. They must stand alongside Israel. The choice has never been more clear because tyranny and freedom between all of us is a blessing and also a curse. Defense Minister Yoav Gallant concurred, saying Iran has not learned a simple lesson. Those who attack the state of Israel will pay a heavy price. Gallant added that he had spent the evening in IDF's Command and Control Center together with senior defense officials, closely watching the IDF's successful defense against the Iranian missile attack on Israel. Shortly after giving the all-clear at the end of the missile assault, the Israeli Defense Force spokesman, Brigadier General Daniel Hagari, called it a severe and dangerous escalation and emphasized there will be consequences. Our defense and offensive capabilities are at the highest levels of readiness. Our operational plans are ready. We will respond wherever, whenever, and however we choose, in accordance with the directive of government of Israel. In another press briefing, Hagari reiterated, this assault will have consequences. We have plans. We will act where and when we decide. Leaders from across Israel's political spectrum, including leading opposition politicians, expressed support for a harsh response against Iran. In another press briefing, Hagari reiterated, This assault will have consequences. We have plans. We will act where and when we decide. Leaders across Israel's political spectrum will not let Iran get away with this. They won't. The attack Sunday night into Monday, despite a U.S. warning to Iran to stand down, must be met with not only a forceful Israeli response, but a larger coordinated regional unit. It's going to happen. Just like the night of April 13th, last night is just another example of important, effective cooperation between Israel, the United States, and its regional partners, which Israel is deeply appreciative of, and the free world in Israel as a democratic outpost in the Middle East cannot remain more passive any longer to growing Iranian aggression, both regionally and globally. Opposition leader Yair Lapid said, Israel's enemies should know that Israel will win the conflict. Our military capabilities, the defense industry, the support of our allies, and above all, the power of our wonderful people. We know that even if the price is already paid, we will win. Iran will pay a significant and heavy price for the attack. In Tehran, they know that Israel will come. The response will be tough and send a clear message to the entire Axis: Iran, Yemen, Syria, Lebanon, Gaza, and Russia. Former Prime Minister Naftali Bennett stressed that the Iranian assault presented the opportunity to strike the regime's nuclear program in Iran. Israel now has its greatest opportunity in 50 years to change the face of the Middle East. We must now destroy Iran's nuclear program, its central energy facilities, and to fatally cripple this terrorist regime. We have the justification, we have the tools. Now that Hezbollah and Hamas are paralyzed, Iran stands exposed. There are times when history knocks at our door and we must open it. So that is exactly what Israel is going to do. Now, with that said, when President Biden was asked Sunday during the press briefing with Face the Nation, Biden was asked by the reporter, what is the United States going to do? How is the United States going to face Iran? Biden said, no to them. No, 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 no. Don't do it. So Biden's given the warning. Biden gave Iran the warning Sunday, don't do it. And Iran went ahead and attacked Israel. Okay? So Israel now is going to force Iran into a corner. The problem with this is Russia is also Russia is now allied with Iran. And there may be consequences with the United States and Israel and other nations going up against Iran. The future is going to pay out. The future is going to pay out. It's going to happen. Now, something else happened while we were on the air last night. CBS hosted the presidential debate between J.D. Vance and Mr. Walz, Mr. Tim Walz. CBS News kept cutting the debate microphone of Senator J.D. Vance. They kept cutting him off. The whole premise with this debate was that CBS News promised Mr. Vance and Walz that they would not cut off the microphones, and that's exactly what happened last night. When Senator J.D. Vance of Ohio objected to an attempt by moderator Margaret Brennan to debate Vance herself on the Haitian immigration issue, she went and cut Vance off. She had his microphone cut off. Vance pointed out to Brennan that CBS News said that it would be up to the two candidates, not moderators Brennan and Nora O'Donnell, to fact-check each other. Vance pointed out to Brennan that it was up to the candidates themselves to fact-check each other, not the journalists. And yet that's exactly what happened last night. Okay? It happened. Vance called out CBS News for breaking the rules it had set down. Then, because he stepped out and went against the news station, his mic got cut off. Vance called out CBS News for breaking the rules that it had set down. Republican presidential nominee Donald Trump posted on Truth Central site earlier today that both young ladies had been extremely biased anchors. Both young ladies have been extremely biased anchors. Margaret Brennan just lied about the illegal migrants let into our country by lion Kamala Harris. Then she cut off JD's mic to stop him from correcting her. Trump protested in real time on Monday night. It was the evening's most contentious moment and exposed CBS News' attempt to put its thumb on the scale against Vance and for Minnesota Democrat Governor Tim Walz. At one point, Walz decided to tell America that he had been in China during the Tiananmen Square event back in the 80s. Walz was immediately called out as a lie. Now his protests over this are under scrutiny. Number one, Walz was too young to be able to have gone to China at all, yet he said his presence was there. Tim Walz was called out for his hypocritical debate to twist the Bible to fit his own agenda on the abortion question. For the vice presidential contender, the least among us doesn't include the most defenseless human beings on earth. He was talking about babies. He was talking about in vitro babies. The least among us doesn't include the most defenseless human beings on earth. Meaning, babies in the womb don't have a right to life. Then he called out the scripture about the most defenseless human beings on earth, referring to Matthew chapter 25, verses 40 through 45, which reads in the King James, "And the king shall answer and say unto them, Verily I say unto you, inasmuch as ye have done it unto the least of these my brethren, ye have done it unto me." Silly Tim tried to make that seem like the least of these did not refer to aborted babies. Verse 41, "Then shall he say unto them on the left hand, Depart from me, ye cursed, into everlasting fire prepared for the devil and his angels. For I was a hungered, and ye gave me no meat. I was thirsty, and you gave me no drink. I was a stranger, and ye took me not in. Naked, and ye clothed me not. Sick and in prison, ye visited me not. Then shall they answer also him, saying, Lord, when saw we thee hungered, or athirst, or a stranger, or naked, or sick, or in prison, and did not minister unto thee? Then shall he answer them, saying, Verily I say unto you, inasmuch as ye did it not to one of the least of these, ye did it not to me." Tim Walz doesn't understand the scriptures. It's very apparent he has no clue or comprehension of spiritual values. He doesn't know the scriptures himself. Walz was trying to justify abortion by quoting from the scripture. And again, the Lord said back in Exodus, the Old Testament, "Thou shalt not kill," unquote. Harris and Walz are communists. They don't know and don't care what the scriptures say. After Vance had talked about illegal immigrants overwhelming American cities like Springfield, Missouri, Springfield, Ohio, Brennan, the anchor from CBS, interjected that the Haitians had moved to the city and were now technically legal under the Biden-Harris administration policies. Since you're fact-checking me, it's important to say what is actually going on, Vance said. And briefly letting Vance speak, Brennan interrupted him to debate him as a wide-eyed Waltz stood quietly. When Brennan had enough, she decided it was time for her to get the last word and moved on to other issues and turned Vance's mic off. CBS News muted the microphone of Vance, who could still barely faintly be heard in the background debating Brennan in the New York City studio. "Gentlemen," Brennan said, "the audience can't hear you because your mics are cut," looking directly at Vance, who she was debating and unhappy with his correcting her on the facts. CBS News has violated the debate agreement when they cut the mics. Margaret Brennan just fact-checked J.D. Vance incorrectly on climate change. Trump wrote, "When is she going to fact-check Tampon Tim on all his false statements?" Another repeat with fake news being unfair to the Republican candidate and trying to get the pathetic Democrat across the finish line. But it doesn't matter. The public sees it as they see it, fake news. Fact-checking has been an issue for liberal media moderators during the Trump era because of their their propensity to devolve the debate into media versus Trump instead of candidate versus candidate. This was fully on display before the American people with Brennan debating Vance on the issue he is closely in tune with as a sitting senator from Ohio. There were points at which the moderators sought to encourage the candidates to police each other. They thought. Folks, when are the mainstream media going to get through their thick skulls that this can't continue? This actually cannot continue. Not now, not ever. The media is trying to take control of everything. And in this case, it's not going to work. Period. It's not going to work at all. There were points during the debate when the moderators sought to encourage the candidates to police each other. During a discussion about whether illegal migration was driving up housing costs, Brennan said to Waltz, "I do not want to let you respond to the allegation that the vice president is letting in migrants." So Brennan was taking control. She did not want Waltz to even have a word about anything because she knew that Waltz did not have the answer, or that Waltz would possibly have an answer, but it would be wrong. Conservatives have been making this case for years. It took the Democrat pressing issue of abortion to allow the candidates to exchange a fact-checking debate. But CBS News butted in. Vance cited a provision in the Minnesota abortion law where Waltz is governor. As I read Minnesota law, quote, it says that a doctor that presides over an abortion where the baby survives, the doctor is under no obligation to provide saving care, unquote. Vance called that fundamentally barbaric, while Waltz merely claimed his opponent's interpretation of the law was untrue without providing any explanation, meaning Waltz did not want to take any responsibility for what he was saying, even though abortion is wrong. I just saw that you guys were giving me 5x5 notions here in the chat, which I appreciated. You guys are getting buffered really bad. Try to go out and come back in. That usually solves it. I hope we are not stuck here. What did the law actually say in Minnesota? That was left unclear. And the viewers were left to decide which candidate that they wanted to believe. The CBS moderators cut the commercial and unwilling to clarify that Vance was pointing to Minnesota's law that permits doctors to allow a fatal abortion baby to lay on a metal table and die without care. That's exactly what the law says. Permitting doctors to allow a failed abortion baby to lie on a steel table and die without care. Also, Minnesota unwound the reporting requirements for doctors to report on what care was delivered or not to a baby born after a failed abortion. Isn't that interesting? The law in Minnesota reporting requirements for doctors to report on what care was delivered or not to a baby born after a failed abortion. No reporting requirement whatsoever. Now, the other moderator made a statement about the election, not a question. She's having a bad night, Trump said. After another moment where the moderator was debating Vance on the contested 2020 election. The moderators wanted to have control here. Trump added, "I thought Nora was fired from CBS for low ratings. Why is she still on?" Minnesota Governor Tim Walz was savaged on social media for committing a gaffe so devastating that it sure is going to go down in the annals of vice presidential debate history. What was it? The brouhaha erupted Tuesday night during Walz's abysmal debate performance in New York against Republican Senator J.D. Vance of Ohio. After the self-proclaimed hunter was asked why he'd changed his stance on gun control, Walz said, quote, "I sat in that office with those Sandy Hook parents. I have become friends with the school shooters." Isn't that interesting? Walz said that he sat with the Sandy Hook parents and that he had become friends with the school shooters. That man is out of his mind. That man is lying to the American public, and he knows it. And that was not the only course where he was giving us a bunch of crap. Again, the Tiananmen Square issue was another one. He didn't even get fact-checked, Elon Musk said. Walz did not even get fact-checked with this being friends with school shooters. Now, if you want to go over to CNN, which I don't advise you to do, CNN this morning tore into Tim Walz and tore him to pieces after his embarrassing debate performance. And they were forced to admit that Vance dominated the debate. Walz delivered a debate performance so weak that 3 CNN propagandists devised multiple excuses to cover the embarrassment. In a focus group of Battlefield state voters, and if it's in any indication, Republican J.D. Vance won the field in Tuesday night's vice presidential debate, and it wasn't even close. Pollster Frank Luntz is a political veteran. He convened a panel of voters from the state's most hotly contested in the November election to view the showdown between the Ohio Senator Vance and Democrat Tim Walz. Those states included Arizona, Pennsylvania, North Carolina, Michigan, Nevada, and Georgia. And while the majority were not supporting Vance from the beginning, by the end of the debate, their opinion of the two debaters' efforts was clear. By the first commercial break, the focus group said in a 10-3 margin that J.D. Vance was winning. That is a big deal since only 5 of them were leaning towards Trump Vance ticket when the debate began. The final focus group tonight was 12-2 in favor of Vance. The resounding Vance victory in the lunch group was a stark contrast to other instant surveys published after the debate by ABC, CBS, NBC, and CNN. CNN actually went to bat for Vance because Vance walked all over Waltz, and Waltz continued to lie. J.D. Vance showed the respondents that as evenly divided as they had been, who won. A roundup of flash polls published by the liberal website of the Daily Beast called the results a virtual draw. Isn't that interesting? A liberal website called the results a virtual draw, but that likely reflected partisan opinion overall, rather than actual judgments of the candidates on Tuesday night. But that likely reflected partisan opinion. The website Politico found a 50-50 split among the voters it surveyed. But Politico itself acknowledged that probably had more to do with the preference of the viewers than the performances on the stage. The preferences of the viewers. Meaning most of the viewers may have been Democrat and they may have turned to Trump after it was over. If the lunch panel really had only 5 members leaning toward the Republican ticket, headed by former President Donald Trump, Vance's 12-2 win means he had an uphill battle from the beginning, and that he came out on top anyway. Throughout last night's debate, CBS News ran on its screen a message that viewers could log on to its CBS News confirmed website to read about claims of the debate that were untrue or misleading. At some points, the network even showed a code that enabled viewers to instantly call up the information on their mobile phones. Former President Trump said today that this debate is a reminder of who not should be in the office a heartbeat away from the presidency. Now, I want to talk more about Hurricane Helene. Hurricane Helene is the second worst hurricane storm in U.S. history. The second worst hurricane storm in U.S. history. I've always used the term, we have not yet begun to fight. That came out of 1776. We have not yet begun to fight. I'm talking about the effects of Hurricane Helene. If things were already bad, a gas station has been accused of price gouging after Hurricane Helene. A gas station has been confirmed to have been price gouging. A gas station in Georgia charging $10 a gas to struggling citizens. $10 a gallon for gas to struggling citizens. This is insane. The gas station in Georgia is accused of price gouging a community left devastated in the wake of Hurricane Helene. Video that was uploaded earlier this week showed a crowd of people around a gas pump at Pope's grocery store, formerly Smile Grocery, in Augusta, Georgia, as a man, presumably an employee of the gas station, filled a container on the ground. The man behind the camera questioned employees on how much was being charged per gallon, and he was immediately questioned about why he was recording the video. One more time, how much a gallon, the man asked? I just want to hear. A woman standing at the pump began calling him out for recording the alleged price gouging. Why is he taking a video, she asked. Why is he taking a video? A man then stepped into the frame and confirmed that the price being charged for a gallon of gas was $10 per gallon. Users were furious over the video, with many calling for the gas station and its owners to face severe repercussions. Price gouging during a national emergency is against the law. This is why they don't want it recorded. turn them in. Some people on social media are saying that they need to be called out, prosecuted, and go to jail. Their licenses should be revoked and the business closed down. There's no way to justify theft. Georgia businesses are prohibited from price gouging during a declared state of emergency. After the emergency is declared, the governor must then specify which goods, if any, that the law will apply to. Businesses may not sell any of the specified goods or services at higher prices than the prices at which those same goods or services were offered before the state of declaration of emergency. That's according to the Georgia Attorney General's Consumer Protection Division website. Nor may a business raise the price of supplies or services for the purposes of salvaging, repairing, or rebuilding structures damaged as a result of the natural disaster. Violators of this law can be fined anywhere between $2,000 and $15,000 per violation. Governor Brian Kemp's September 24th executive order declaring a state of emergency over Helene specified fuel as one of the items that's now protected under the price gouging law. In the order, Governor Kemp declared price gouging related to goods and services necessary for preparation, response, and recovery activities for this state of emergency for Tropical Storm Helene, including motor fuel, diesel fuel, and other petroleum products, would be detrimental to the social and economic welfare of the citizens of this state is therefore prohibited. Helene's destruction was felt across multiple states, seeing homes and communities virtually wiped off the map. Looting has also become a concern for the survivors of the disaster, and law enforcement has already made multiple arrests in this region. Officials have put guards on food, water, and fuel supply caches in many areas. Now, there's something else that you ought to know. Kamala Harris sorry about that. Kamala Harris has been mocked over a big problem. Kamala Harris has been mocked over a big problem. That problem is this. Vice President Kamala Harris was hilariously dragged through social media for apparently staging a photo op in which she claimed she was working to provide relief to Hurricane Helene victims. Chief among her critics is former President Donald Trump, who posted a scathing smackdown of Harris on her contrived X post, which showed her working at a desk on Air Force Two with her earbud apparently not even connected to her phone. Another fake and staged photo from someone who has no clue what she's doing. Fact. Look closely. You have to plug the cord into the phone for it to work. You have to plug the cord into the phone for it to work. The phone is sitting at the desk in front of her, and the earbuds are not plugged into the phone. And if you even look closer, let me do this. Let me blow up this photo so you can truly see it. Look at the paperwork in front of her. She claims to be writing. Kamala Harris claims to be writing on the paper. Guess what? The paper is blank. The paper is blank, there's nothing on it. Biden and Harris have abandoned Americans in Afghanistan. They have sacrificed Americans to an open border policy. And now they have left Americans to drown in North Carolina, Georgia, Tennessee, Alabama, and elsewhere in the South. Under this administration, Americans always come in last because we have leaders who have no idea how to lead. We have leaders that no longer know how to lead. Isn't that interesting? Trump wasn't the only one that had that sentiment. Numerous ex-Twitter users torched Harris, accusing her of pretending to help hurricane victims while not doing anything other than staging a photo op. Everything about you is fake, Harris. Phone unplugged. Blank paper. To be fair, it's possible that Harris' earbud was plugged into another phone in her jacket, not to the phone on her desk. That's just giving her the benefit of a doubt. But giving her egregious track record of accomplishing a lot of nothing during her 3.5-year terms as vice president, it's far more likely that cackling Kamala was merely cosplaying, much as she's done during her entire political career. So far, remember yesterday evening when we had said that 118 people have been found deceased between Florida to Virginia? That total has now reached 166 people that have died in the 6 southeastern states: North Carolina, Georgia, North Carolina, Georgia, Tennessee, Alabama, Florida, and Virginia, and the surrounding area impacted by the storm. As of this morning, Harris still has not visited any of the states ravaged by Helene. I understand today that she may have flown into South Carolina. That's what I've heard. In contrast, Trump was on the ground in Valdosta, Georgia on Monday to survey the damage caused by the storm and to offer aid and encouragement. The former president also brought truckloads of relief items to support the distraught hurricane victims. We came down with truckloads of various items, different items, from oil to water. The former president added, "We're here today to stand with complete solidarity with the people of Georgia and all of those suffering in the terrible aftermath of Hurricane Helene. Many Americans are worse off today than they ever were during the Trump presidency, and there's no indication that anything will improve if Harris remains in the White House. During Harris's disastrous tenure, the United States has buckled under the weight of crushing inflation, daily border invasions, skyrocketing crime. We simply cannot endure another 4 years of this destruction." That is what President Trump has said, and I stand with that. Kamala Harris staged this photograph to let people think that she's doing something when she's not done much of anything. Okay? Now, do you guys have any questions about anything we talked about? I'm more than happy to discuss any of it with you. You guys have any questions for me? Now, I see most of you have been talking about other things since we've been here. Renee Steffi says Governor Ron DeSantis has been sending aid in teams to Western North Carolina. He is calling it Project Blue Ridge. Governor DeSantis, thank you so much, brother. We appreciate you. We appreciate you so much. God bless you. I love Governor DeSantis. He's awesome. He is awesome. NCWQ Explorer Becky is here saying she got a new van. That's awesome too. That really is. Richard Smith is reporting another 4.7 moderate earthquake in the Philippines. That's not the only earthquake that's hit, as you all know. Many other earthquakes have hit, literally all over the world. Let's go take a look at those earthquakes that have hit, just for kicks and giggles. Okay, now I want to start up here in the northeast or northwestern United States. Then we'll go the rest of the way around the world. Let's go start here in the Pacific Northwest. Okay, up off the northwest corner or northwest coast of Vancouver Island. We have another 4.1 moderate earthquake near Port McNeill, Canada, southwest of Port McNeill, Canada. Another earthquake south of there over on the Blanco Fracture Zone, just off the coast of Oregon. This is another 4.0 moderate earthquake. 4.0 off the earth, I believe it's off the coast of Oregon near Pistol River, Oregon. Another earthquake on the Gorda Escarpment, further south off the coast of Northern California. This is a 3.0. USGS has downgraded this quake to a 2.9. A 2.9. And as is normal, USGS just knocked us off the web here, and I'm going to have to get it back and just to have a shake here. If you guys would just stand by with me for just a minute, I'll bring the USGS map back. They do this every night. I've gotten used to it. The first time it happened, I got angry. Now I just feel sad for these stupid people. Yes, I am calling USBS stupid. If the shoe fits, USBS. If the shoe fits. One other earthquake I want to talk about is over in Idaho. Over in Idaho right here. This is Chalice, Idaho. This is on the western border of the Yellowstone magma chamber. The western border of the Yellowstone magma chamber. No, I do not believe this is in the Yellowstone magma chamber itself, but it's on the western side of the Yellowstone magma chamber. This is a 2.1 minor earthquake. Just southwest of that, Stanley, Idaho. This is a 1.8 tremor. Over in Montana. Over in Montana, there's another earthquake. They say this is a 1.9, 2.0 earthquake in the quarry blast, called southwest of the silos. Let's go zoom in here for kicks and giggles here. I just love going over here when they say there's a quarry blast to see exactly what's up. I get a charge out of it, really. Okay? USGS says this is a 1.9, 2.0 quarry blast. Let's look at it. Okay? Number one, it's not near the quarry. It's over in a forested area west of the quarry. Okay? This may or may not be related to any quarry blast at all. Okay? 7 kilometers. 7 kilometers. Folks, this is 3 miles southwest of the silos. This also happens to be 1 mile deep. 1 mile deep. I doubt that this is a quarry blast. I believe this is actually a tremor up here in Montana. Okay? I believe that was a tremor up here in Montana. Yes, it is close to a quarry, but it's not that close. Sorry, USGS, I don't buy it. Let's go further to the northwest. Marion, Montana. This is a 0.9, 1.0 tremor. Again, USGS has a habit of downgrading quakes to the nearest 0.9. They put this as a 0.9 microquake, but I believe this is a 1.0 tremor at least. Okay? Let's look at this. Number one, this is over in the mountains of Montana. Okay? A tremor. This is 5 kilometers deep as well. 5 kilometers deep. Just over 2 miles deep. Okay? Interesting. Interesting. So that's that. We go further over to the west here. I want to show you these 2 quakes here. This is Kittitas, Washington. This again is a 2.0 earthquake. 2.0 earthquake, east-southeast of Kittitas, Washington. This is 0.8 0.8 kilometers deep. It's just less than a mile deep. Actually, just less than a half mile deep. Just southwest of there, they claim this is a quarry blast. an explosion near Ellensburg, Washington. Isn't that interesting that they say they would have an explosion near Ellensburg, Washington? This is not the first time they would have an explosion near Ellensburg, Washington. Let's look at this. Number one, this is nowhere near Ellensburg, Washington. They say it's 9 kilometers southwest of Ellensburg. That's all fine and good. That's just over 4 miles away. A 2.1 explosion. Folks, unless they're harvesting trees out here, or maybe they are just trying to drill a well, I doubt it. I've not heard of an explosion out here. I haven't. Look at the location of where this alleged explosion was. Look at the location. Look at the location. It's right next to a river. Right next to a river. They don't usually explode near a river unless they're landscaping near the river and they want to widen it for whatever reason. That is not the case here. Besides that, look closely where this alleged explosion was. It's on an earthquake fault. It's on an earthquake fault near Ellensburg, Washington. This was not an explosion, it was a 2.1 earthquake. 2.1 earthquake. That's why I like to go and look. You can't trust the agency, and you cannot trust anything about anything unless you go and look at what's going on and where it's at. Okay? I've learned that over a long period of time. Let's go northwest here. Woods Creek, Washington. Woods Creek, Washington. This is a 1.1 tremor here. Okay? They don't have any other seismic events here in this area. Now, while I'm here, I want you to see something else. Right here, Mount Rainier. They're not showing any activity at Mount Rainier at all. Down to the south, Mount St. Helens, they're not showing any activity here. Out east over here is Mount Adams. They're not showing any activity here as well. What's going on here? What is going on? Simply said, we have a lot of people that are saying there's a lot of sulfur dioxide in the air. Sulfur. The smell of sulfur is in the air. Sulfur is in the air because of magma beneath the surface. Magma beneath the surface emits a sulfur dioxide smell. Smell of sulfur. Folks, I have looked and looked all day long. I have not found any facts or anything that would substantiate any kind of sulfur dioxide leak at Mount Rainier, Mount St. Helens, Mount Adams, Mount Hood, or any other volcanoes here in the Washington, northern Oregon area. I can find no reason for any magma smell unless there's magma right near the surface, and if it's near the surface, it is emitting sulfur dioxide smell, SO2. SO2. That I've gone through the seismograms, looking at all the volcanoes. I've been looking all over the place, and I find no evidence of any kind to substantiate any sulfur dioxide smells in this region. None. None. Okay? We go south. We talked about those earthquakes off the western coast of Canada and the United States here. Do any of you have any questions about what we talked about so far? Any questions? Richard Smith, I love you, guy. Rich, I love you. Them trees have it out for humanity. I love it. That is so cool. Those trees have it out for humanity. Renee Seppi's asking, is Is Iceland erupting? I have not heard anything about Iceland erupting today. Now, with that said, as I have explained before, there is that huge magma chamber or the magma reservoir down beneath Svartsengi, down beneath the power plant and the Blue Lagoon. The area has had deformation, upward deformation, meaning the land has risen because of the magma chamber or the magma reservoir beneath Svartsengi power plant and the Blue Lagoon. Now, we know for a fact that the magma is moving north-northwest. Magma moved north-northwest for the previous eruptions, those long fissure eruptions that we've had. Magma is still working its way north-northwest. As the magma works its way north-northwest, we are still expecting another eruption very soon. I have not heard of any today. I will investigate that, and I will report back to you at my soonest possible time. All right. Now, before I leave California here, right over here, this is the border of California and Nevada. Stagecoach, Nevada. I've been here. Today we have a 2.0 earthquake. Folks, this is on the Walker Lane Fault. This 2.0 is on the Walker Lane Fault. There are many earthquakes on the Walker Lane Fault, and I am saying we're probably going to have another very strong 6.0 to a major 7.0 earthquake very shortly. We had a I believe it was 6.9 earthquake in the Antelope Valley area with landslides and everything else a few years back. I can still see that happening again on the Walker Lane Fault. Here to the south, this is also California, Walker Lane Fault. This is a 2.3 earthquake here. 2.3 earthquake here. Okay? It's happening. It's happening. Let's go towards the coast here. Over here on the northeast side of the San Francisco, I can't say San Francisco Bay Bridge. This is the San Francisco Bay here. This is Pinole, California. Pinole, California. This is a 2.0 earthquake. Guess what? It's right smack dab on this earthquake fault. The Hayward Fault. The good old Hayward Fault. Now, almost directly to the northwest of there. This is a 1.5 earthquake. This earthquake is northwest of another fault called the Calaveras Fault. So we have a 1.5 fault here, a 1.5 earthquake here, and a 2.0 over right next to San Francisco Bay on the Hayward Fault. To the south, this is another earthquake over here on the Hayward Fault. Hollister, California. Hollister, California. We've been having a lot of earthquakes here in this area for a long time. This is a 2.5 earthquake near Hollister, California. This is also 7.6 kilometers deep, just so you know. Further to the south, this is just east of where? The San Andreas Fault. The San Andreas Fault here. This is the Pinnacles, California area. 14 kilometers northeast of the Pinnacles. The Pinnacles are an oil and gas producing area, as well as being on the San Andreas Fault. 1.5 tremor here. Go further to the coast, to the south. Lopez Point. We've been seeing earthquakes here at Lopez Point for a while now. I can remember 3 other earthquakes here in the last few years. 1.3 tremor here, Lopez Point, California. We go back over here to the east on the good old San Andreas Fault. Parkfield, California, 1.1 tremor. Just south of there. We have another 0.7 microquake. Folks, what is Parkfield, California? It is the earthquake capital of California and earthquake capital of the world. Earthquake capital of California and the earthquake capital of the world. This is another, just one more example, this being the earthquake capital of the world. More earthquakes hit here than any other place in the world. Parkfield, California. To the east there, Aveyah, California. This is a 1.27. I'm sorry, 1.7, not 1.27, a 1.7 quake. Tremor. Further to the northeast here, this is a 3.4. See all these other earthquakes that we talked about? All these other quakes are aftershocks of this quake. This is a 3.4 small earthquake, Aveyah, California. Okay? Right next to it to the north. This is a 2.7. Just to the southeast here, this is a 4.0. So the 4.0 is probably the largest quake. The 3.4 here is an aftershock of the 4.0. To the south here, this is a 2.2, also an aftershock. Here to the west, a 1.7 tremor. 0.9 here. And out west here, a 0.9 near Coalinga, California. These quakes east of Coalinga are tied into Aveyah, California. We've seen earthquakes here in this area. We've seen upwards of 5.0 about 10 years ago. Aveyah, California. It remains to be seen what we see here in the future. Arnold Schmidt is here in the chat. I want to thank him for a statement he made just a minute ago. It means a great deal to me. Those of you who have high-frequency ham radio licenses, thank you for aiding your resources to help those who are devastated by the hurricane. And thank you again for your coverage of what's going on. Please, folks, please, if you have any information about the damage or any other assessments being done about Hurricane Helene, please let me know so I can share it with all of you. I have information coming from all sources, but I would rather have information coming from you so I could pass it on. I love my EMA family members. I may be the father of the EMA channel, EMA family, but I'd rather deal with my family members. You guys are my family, and I love you very much. So that's what's going on here. Rob52 is here. I talked to Rob52 earlier. Rob52 is a very dear friend of mine, my brother, my pal. I love it. Love it. Anyway, we talked about the San Andreas Fault, the great San Andreas Fault. We'll go south to the coastline. Malibu, California. Where have we heard of Malibu, California before? Another 5.1 hit here a couple weeks ago. Now we have another 2.2 earthquake here. Another aftershock. We go north over here to the Garlic Fault. Good old Garlic Fault. Nobody even realized that we had a Garlic Fault here until after the Ridgecrest earthquake. Now we are reporting another quarry blast here on the Garlic Fault. Very interesting. Very, very interesting. Yes, there are quarries in this area. They have been they've been mining for boron here in this area to make borax detergent. This is a 1.3 quarry blast allegedly over here in the Mojave Desert area. And yes, there are quarries in this area, so yes, they may be mining boron here, and that's why they may have had this earthquake right on top of the Garlic Fault. To the south of there, is a 1.6 quarry blast also over here in the Mojave Desert mining boron. 1.6 quarry blast, this is a half mile deep. I'm sorry, a quarter mile deep. My bad. We go to the northeast here. Wolford Heights, California. This is a 1.7 tremor. 8 kilometers southeast Wolford Heights, California. 10.3 kilometers deep. 6.2 miles deep. Okay? We go further over here to the east. I just love this. Ridgecrest, California. 14 kilometers northeast of Ridgecrest, California. This is a 1.1 tremor here. We go further north here. Little Lake, California. 0.5 microquake. 0.6 microquake. And further east, a brand new earthquake just happened. This is a 1.5 here in Searles Valley, California. 1.5 tremor here in Searles Valley, California. Then we go north again. This is Cozo Junction. Good old Cozo Junction. There's 3 earthquakes here. What do we have here in Cozo Junction? Look closely, guys. See these craters? Volcanic craters here in Cozo Junction. Why? It's a huge volcanic area. A huge volcanic area. And what's more, what else do we have going on here? You can see what I'm showing you now. You're seeing what I'm showing you. Just west of these earthquakes, what do we have? What do we have? Simply put, down at the bottom here, up towards the top of this area here, this is water that's being injected into the volcano to obtain steam to power turbines to generate electricity here. This is a geothermal facility here called Devil's Kitchen. A geothermal facility here at the Cozo Volcanic Range, this is called Devil's Kitchen. One, because it's so flippin' hot down here in the Mojave Desert here in the Cozo Volcanic area. I was here one day many years ago. It was 124 degrees in the shade. I was getting gas at a gas station near here. 124 degrees in the shade. You can see other turbines out here. You can see other areas where they've got water here, treated sewage that they're injecting into the wells to pull steam from the volcano. That's what they're doing here. This is a huge geothermal facility. I believe they've got 60 different turbines all throughout this area. That was my latest count about a year or so ago. That's what's going on here in the Mojave Desert. The Cozo Volcanic Range. The Cozo Volcanic Range. I just love it here. Just love it here. Now down here, this is west of the volcano. Okay? You see a highway here. This is Highway 395. You used to travel this area to get to Utah. You used to travel 395 to get up to San Francisco as well. Look at this. A highway right just west of the coastal volcanic area. Over here, and I'm not sure exactly where it is on this map. I think it's south of here. Let's go south of here. There's a little turnoff here that goes up to the geothermal facility. And there's a little store, a gas station, and there's also a small hotel over here. Small hotel here. Daggum, it's here anyway. I've been by this area so many times. At one time I said I could drive this area with my eyes closed, and I probably could. Basically, it's just straight freeway. 2-lane blacktop in each direction. Okay, I've gotten as close as I can. I don't see that gas station or the hotel anyway. But that's what's over here in the Coastal Junction area. Unreal. Unreal. To the north here, this is Big Pine, California. We've had a 7.0 earthquake up here in Big Pine before, just about 2 years ago. Incredible. I called that earthquake as well. All kinds of fun and games. Literally, all kinds of fun and games. Okay, we talked about Aveyah. We haven't talked about Grapevine. Over here in the Grapevine, we have more earthquakes here. Why? Because a few weeks back we had a 5.1 earthquake up here in the Grapevine. This is a 1.1 tremor here. This is a 1.6 tremor here. Aftershocks of that large earthquake here a few weeks back. Unreal. Again, Malibu, California, we talked about this earthquake earlier here. Right there. Good old Malibu. We had a 5.1 earthquake there. Over here in Los Angeles area, Highland Park, Pasadena, California. We had a 5.1 earthquake here. That's why we have this earthquake here. A 1.4 tremor here, aftershock. Further east, this is supposedly a quarry blast near Azusa, California. 3 miles, 6 kilometers northwest of Azusa, California. I have friends that live in this area. I have friends that are law enforcement officers here in Azusa, California. Let's zoom in here and see if we can find a quarry. Guess what? There's no quarry. USGS, again, you're wrong. There is no quarry. This is a tremor out here. A 0.8 microquake out here in the hills east of Azusa, California. Not a quarry blast. Sorry, USGS. EMA 10, USBS 2. EMA 10, USBS 2. Oh, how I like to win over USBS. Now, while they're not showing any other earthquakes here in the LA area, there are. Don't be misled by no earthquakes here in the just because the USBS says it is. It's not true. I can show you seismograms all over this area. There's dozens, hundreds of earthquakes in this area. Hundreds of earthquakes in this area. Out east here. This is Little Creek, California. Little Creek, California, 1.6 tremor. We go further east, Devore, California, to San Jacinto Fall, 1.0 tremor here. We go further south, Mentone, California, 1.0 tremor there. To the west, Good old Loma Linda, California. Loma Linda, California. Just southwest of Loma Linda. This is a 1.0 tremor as well. Interesting, huh? We go further south. San Jacinto, California. This is over near Hemet and some of my old stomping grounds. This is a 0.3 microquake. 0.3 microquake over here in the San Jacinto area near Hemet, California. Been there, done that. This is Val Vista here. 0.4 here. We go further south. We have a cache of quakes here. This is Idlewild, California. Good old Idlewild, California. A cache of quakes here, right? 7 of them, one to the south. This is 0.3. This is 0.3. This is 0.4. This is supposedly a surface quake. Guess what? It's not a surface quake. It's not a surface quake. This is 7 miles deep. 13.9 kilometers deep. 7 miles deep here. This is 0.3. This is a 0.1 here. Okay? The only reason that they could possibly have called this a surface quake is it's up in the mountains. It says minus 0.0. It's not a surface quake. That is a 7 mile long and mile deep quake. Okay? No way is it a surface quake. To the south, the Anza Gap. 0.6 microquake in the Anza Gap. Northeast San Diego, California. Northeast corner of San Diego, California. San Diego County. We go further south and west. Still the Anza Gap here. Fallbrook, California. They're calling this a 0.0 surface quake. It's not. Sorry, it's 1.5 miles deep. It's not a surface quake at all. This is a 0.6, also almost 2 miles deep. Not quite 2 miles deep here. We go further west here. Palomar Observatory, northeast of Escondido, California. This is a 0.4 microquake here on the San Jacinto Fault. 0.4 on the San Jacinto Fault. This is a 1.4 in the same area. But they're calling this Palo, California. There's no way it's Palo, California. This is right next to the Palomar Observatory on Palomar Mountain. It's not Palomar or Palo, California. They say it's 9 kilometers east of Palo. It's closer to Palomar Mountain. Closer to Palomar Mountain. Let me show you something. The Palo Indian Reservation is out here. That's a Palo Indian Reservation here. This is a small town here. I don't remember what this small town is called, but I used to date a girl that lived here. This is at the base of Palomar Mountain here. Okay? Then we come further out here. This is Escondido, California here. This is a very sprawling city of Escondido, California. When I left here in April 2000, this city had probably close to 60,000 people. A sprawling city of Escondido, California. Been there, done that. On the book. Further to the east here, more earthquakes. Again, this is the Anza Gap, the Anza Borrego Desert State Park. Again, this is not a 0.0 surface quake. This is 1.5 miles deep. Okay? This is 0.6, also nearly a mile and a half deep. Further south here, also part of the Anza-Borrego Desert State Park. 0.3 microquake here, 0.5 microquake here, 0.6 here, and a 1.3 tremor here. We go further to the east. I just love this. Also in the Anza-Borrego Desert State Park, northeast San Diego County, 1.0 tremor. This is a 0.4 microquake. This is a 0.5 here. Further south, Borrego Springs. Borrego Springs is 0.7. Here is also Borrego Springs. This is on top of the Chocolate Mountains. Also a 1.0 tremor here. A lot of activity, huh? Oh yeah. Up here. Folks, this is slightly on the east side of the Chocolate Mountains. The Chocolate Mountains separates San Diego from the Imperial Valley. USGS is saying that this is Ocotillo Wells. It's not. This is 12 kilometers southeast of Ocotillo Wells. This red earthquake. This is closer to Salton City. As I have repeated before this program here, this is Salton City here. It used to be a thriving small community, a small town. Now it's a ghost town. Nobody lives there. Salton City here. But we continue to have quakes here. This is a 1.3 tremor here, southwest of Salton City. Good old Salton City. Now, we're not showing any earthquakes here other than this one further to the south here. Progreso, Mexico. This is at the U.S.-Mexican border here. Interesting enough. Just to the north here, they say this is Ocotillo, California. This is over on the southern west side of the Imperial Valley. This is still in the Imperial Valley, actually, because it is up just on the eastern flank of the Chocolate Mountains here. Okay? Right here, you have another quake here. This is Pine Valley. This is East San Diego County. Pine Valley. This is a 0.9, 1.0 tremor. 8 kilometers deep. 4 miles deep. Pine Valley, East San Diego County. Further west. And I just love it here. Rancho San Diego Estates. Rancho San Diego Estates. But guess what? It's not a dot either, is it? They're saying this is a quarry blast. Again, USGS has no clue. They just put this here because they don't know what to establish it as. It's in the middle of a frickin' residential area. It's in the middle of a frickin' residential area, and they're calling this a quarry blast. A 1.0 tremor quarry blast. This is not a quarry blast, folks. It's a tremor here, and it's in Rancho San Diego. Rancho San Diego. You can see it. Now, folks, when I used to live just over here west of there in Poway, Rancho San Diego was maybe a half-hour trip eastbound. Back then, there was a golf course of maybe 100 homes. 100 homes. Now look at this sprawling community here in Rancho San Diego. It's huge. It's huge, guys. Why USGS would call this a quarry blast? USGS needs their heads examined. They really do. They have no clue. They really have no clue. Out here off the coast of California here. I believe Rob and I saw this earlier when we were talking. This is off the coast of Carlsbad, California. Guess what, guys? off the coast. This is a 2.0 earthquake. 47 kilometers west-southwest of Carlsbad, California. You might say this is closer to La Jolla than Carlsbad. Okay? I used to live out here. I've been deep sea fishing here in this area. I've been deep sea fishing right in this area right here. This area is deep ocean here. That's why I was deep sea fishing in this area. This is closer to La Jolla than Carlsbad. But a 2.0 minor earthquake here. We continue having earthquakes here. This is the first time we have had an earthquake close to this area here in a while. Okay? Just to let you know. Seismic energy keeps hitting this area. It's hitting all over this area here. Now, we go down here to the Kermadec Islands, just north of New Zealand. This is a 4.7 earthquake, moderate earthquake, 37 kilometers deep. Go further north here at the Fiji Islands, southern Fiji region. This is a 4.5 moderate earthquake. This is also 540 kilometers deep. This is a fairly deep earthquake. Being this is a 4.5, this earthquake here is going to propagate a much larger shallow earthquake. It's going to propagate a 5.3 large earthquake. A 5.3 large earthquake. Deep earthquakes propagate shallower, stronger quakes. This earthquake is going to propagate a much larger earthquake, a 5.3 large earthquake. That will happen within the next 72 hours to 10 days. Okay? We go further west. Now, this is not saying that there aren't earthquakes in this area, because there are. USGS decides what they're going to show and what they're not going to show. Okay? This earthquake is off the coast of Mindanao, Philippines. This is a large 5.0 earthquake. It was downgraded to 4.9. This is 10 kilometers deep. This is an aftershock of an 8.4 earthquake 5 months ago. An 8.4 earthquake hit in this area 5 months ago. This is a 5.0 large aftershock. Okay? We go north. This is a 4.7 earthquake here, northeast of San Julian, Philippines, central Philippines. A 4.7 earthquake here. This is still a fairly shallow earthquake, 64 kilometers deep. Okay? Now, we're showing an earthquake over here. This is in the Volcano Islands. This is a 4.7 earthquake here, 217 kilometers deep. Still a fairly shallow quake. USGS is not showing earthquakes here in Japan at all. That's a fallacy. There are 3 earthquakes over here in Japan. They are small earthquakes here. Small earthquakes here. They're not showing any earthquakes here in China, Russia, or the Middle East. They're not showing any earthquakes here in Europe or Africa. What a joke. There's about 800 earthquakes over here in Europe. They're not showing. Why not? Why not? Okay? Why not? I want to see more earthquakes. There are earthquakes here. USGS, you have some splaining to do. You have some splaining to do. Does anybody have any questions for me? Juby Joe, who's become a Diet Coke-aholic? I want to know. I want to know. I used to be a Diet Dr. Pepper-aholic. I used to also put ice cream in my Dr. Pepper. Go figure. Go figure. Now over here in the South Atlantic Ocean, okay, South Mid-Atlantic, this is a large 5.5 earthquake. This came out of the South Sandwich Islands to the southwest. This is a 5.5 in the southernmost Mid-Atlantic. This earthquake is going to travel the entire length of the Mid-Atlantic. This is a very large earthquake. 5.5, very large earthquake. It's going to travel the entire length of the Mid-Atlantic Ocean. Okay? It may cause a lot of problems also here. That remains to be seen. Any questions? And yes, we do have earthquakes over here in Alaska. Quite a few of them. There are 60 earthquakes over here in Alaska. Most of these earthquakes are over in southern Alaska here. Okay? Further down here, I just love this one. King Salmon, Alaska. Good old King Salmon, Alaska. What is there? This is just west of a volcano. This is just west of a volcano. Old Ililama volcano here. Old Ililama volcano. And you can see quite a few earthquakes here. Okay? Earthquakes all over. This is a 3.1 small earthquake here. Okay? Further south here is a 0.9, 1.0 tremor. They have it minus numbers because allegedly it's above sea level. This is 3 miles deep. It's not above sea level at all. It's 3 miles deep. Right next to it, another one. They have this allegedly as a minus 0.6 here. This is 3 miles deep. It's not a minus number at all. South here, Karluk, Alaska, 77 kilometers. And now they've taken it down. Go figure, they've taken it down. Oh well. King Salmon, Alaska, here we talked about that, and this one right here. All of these earthquakes are around Old Ililama volcano. Old Ililama volcano has been steaming off and on. This has been shaking off and on for a very long time. Okay? Further north here in the this is the Cook Inlet here. The Cook Inlet. And all of a sudden USGS took my map down. Sorry guys, I was going to explore all this other information here, and I may still, let me take this map down real quick. I hate it when USGS does this. Let's go back up here to Alaska. I just love this thing. Okay, let's start this time over in the Gulf of Alaska here. This is a 3.1. This is 266 kilometers southeast of Old Harbor, Alaska. In the Gulf of Alaska. This is a 3.6. This is near Chignac, Alaska. 234 kilometers southeast of Chignac, Alaska. This is a 3.7 here. This is on the Aleutian Island Fault. This is a 2.8, 92 kilometers deep on the Aleutian Island Fault. Go back up here to the Cook Inlet. Okay? This is a 2.0. This is a 1.7. Over here, Fritz Creek, Alaska, 2.0. North of there, Clam Gulch, Alaska, 1.7. We go across the Cook Inlet here, and we have 2.2 here. We have 2.4, Happy Valley. Interesting. 2.0, also Happy Valley. This is a minus 0.8, 65 kilometers east-northeast of Pedro Bay, Alaska. 0.3 kilometers deep. Guess what? Can you guys say this is south of Mount Redoubt volcano? South of Mount Redoubt volcano, because that's where it is. That's where this is, south of Mount Redoubt, Alaska here. Go further north here. Nikiski, Alaska. 1.0 here, Nikiski, Alaska here. This is a 0.1, Nikiski, Alaska. This is Haluga, Alaska, minus 0.8. This is a mile and a half deep. Fascinating here. Let's go way up here. This is a 3.0, 27 kilometers west-northwest of Secedon, Alaska. Fascinating. Fascinating. This earthquake is almost straight northwest of Mackenzie, Alaska. 1.4 tremor southwest or northwest of Mackenzie, Alaska, and straight across here from Anchorage is that earthquake. This is Anchorage, Alaska, right here. Anchorage, Alaska, there. To the north. Actually, to the northwest. Big Lake, Alaska, here. Fascinating. Secedon, a 3.0 here. We go north. 2.1. Southwest of Petersville, Alaska. Denali, Alaska, here. Denali National Park. 1.6 tremor here. And USGS is not calling this Denali National Park, but it is. You guys can see that. Denali National Park. To the southwest here, they say this is west-southwest of Denali. It's not. This is north or southwest of Denali National Park. Southwest of Denali National Park. Fascinating. 2.2 here. They say this is northeast of Denali. It's northwest of Denali. Sorry, USGS, you lose. You lose. We go up here to the Arctic Circle here. Kobuk, Alaska. This is northeast of Kobuk. Down here to the south is Kobuk, Alaska here. Kobuk, Alaska. Why do I know? We had a 6.3 here 4.5 years ago. We reported on it. This is up in the Arctic Circle. A 2.4 earthquake here. You can see the tundra of Alaska here. The tundra. Arctic Circle here. We come over here to the northeast here. Arctic Village. 81 kilometers north of Arctic Village here at the Arctic Circle. A 3.0 small earthquake. That's what's happening here in Alaska. Quite a few earthquakes here. Any questions? Any questions? I know I've had you here for a while. Demon Catman says Renee moves neck to neck. Woo! Renee's in a race. Renee's in a race. Neck and neck. Rounding turn one. Neck and neck. Don Patoka, the new top 10 song here today by SO2 called Stinky Water. stinky water in the well makes me not feel happy, makes it kind of smell. Stinky water, you can't wash all over. You run away from the hurricane water. See, I can't make up a song. Juby Joe says, run! Renee Steffi says, ah ha ha ha. Yeah, I can't make up words to a song. You guys would be chasing me off with a shotgun. Hurricane Heather says, y'all be wilding out. True. Hey guys, I love you. I love you. Now, we're approaching the end of our program. I usually end with a devotional, which I'm going to do here. Because Mr. Tim Walsh wanted to talk about Matthew chapter 25. Let's go there. Matthew chapter 25 just does not only discuss the people who love the Lord the most. We talk about the 10 virgins, the wedding supper, the talents, and the sheep and the goats. In verse 1, then shall the kingdom of heaven be likened unto 10 virgins, which took their lamps and went forth to meet the bridegroom. And 5 of them were wise, and 5 were foolish. They that were wise took their lamps and took no oil with them. But the wise took oil in their vessels with their lamps. While the bridegroom tarried, they all slumbered and slept. And at midnight there was a cry made, Behold, the bridegroom cometh. Go ye out to meet him. Then all those virgins arose and trimmed their lamps. And the foolish said unto the wise, Give us of your oil, that our lamps are gone out. But the wise answered, saying, No, not so, lest there not be enough for us and you. But go ye rather to tell them that sell, and buy for yourselves. And while they went to buy, the bridegroom came, and they that were ready went in with him to the marriage, and the door was shut. Afterward also came the other virgins, saying, Lord, Lord, open to us. And he answered and said, Verily I say unto you, I know ye not. How many times have we told this story? How many times have people other than me told this story? We're talking about preparedness. We're talking about preparedness. Some virgins did not have their oil because they were not prepared. But the ones that had their oil went into the bridegroom and saw the marriage. Folks, what do we have to do to become prepared? Not like foolish Tim Walsh, who has no clue what the scripture says. I know you not. Do we want to ever come to the bridegroom's door and have him say, I know you not, and the door closes? Watch therefore, for ye neither know the day nor the hour wherein the Son of Man cometh. For the kingdom of heaven is as a man traveling into a far country, who called his own servants and delivered unto them his goods. And unto one he gave 5 talents, and to another 2, and to another 1, to every man according to his ability. Straightway took his journey. Then he that received the 5 went and traded with the same, and made them 5 other talents. And likewise he that had 2 gained other 2. But he that had received 1 went and digged it in the earth and hid his Lord's money. After a long time the Lord of the servants cometh and reckoned with him. And so he that had received 5 talents came and brought other 5 talents with him, saying, Lord, thou deliverest unto me 5 talents, and behold, I have gained besides them 5 more. And the Lord said unto him, Well done, thou good and faithful servant. Thou hast been faithful over a few things. I will make thee ruler over many things. Enter thou into the joy of thy Lord. He also that received 2 talents came and said, Lord, thou deliverest unto me 2 talents, and behold, I have gained 2 other talents besides them. The Lord said unto him, Well done, good and faithful servant. Thou hast been faithful over a few things. I will make thee ruler over many things. Enter thou into the joy of thy Lord. And then he that had received 1 talent came and said, Lord, I knew thee that thou art a hard man, reaping where thou hast not sown, and gathering where thou hast not strawed. I was afraid and went and hid my talent in the earth. And lo, there thou hast that this is thine. His Lord answered and said unto him, Thou wicked and slothful servant, thou knowest I reap where I sowed not, and gather where I have not strawed. Thou oughtest therefore to have put thy money to the exchangers, and then at my coming I should have received my own money with usury. Take therefore the talent from him, and gave it unto him which hath 10 talents. For unto every one that hath shall be given, and he shall have abundance, but from him that hath not shall be taken away even that which he hath. And cast ye the unprofitable servant into outer darkness. There shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth, when the Son of Man shall come in his glory, and all his holy angels with him. Then he shall sit upon the throne of his glory, and before him shall be gathered all nations, and he separate them from one another, as a shepherd divideth his sheep from the goats. And he shall set his sheep on his right hand, but the goats on the left. I've talked about this before, haven't I? The Lord has Jesus Christ on his right hand. Who's on his left? Then shall the king say unto them on his right hand, Come, ye blessed of my Father, inherit the kingdom for you from the foundation of the world. For I was hungry, and ye gave me meat. I was thirsty, and you gave me drink. I was a stranger, and ye visited me. You took me in. Naked, and ye clothed me. I was sick, and ye visited me. I was in prison, and ye came unto me. Then shall the righteous answer him, saying, Lord, when saw we thee and hungered, and fed thee, or thirsty, and gave thee drink? When saw we thee a stranger, and took thee in, or naked, and clothed thee? Or when saw we thee sick, or in prison, and came unto thee? This is the answer. Verses 40 through 45. And the king shall answer and say unto them, Verily I say unto you, inasmuch as ye have done it unto the one of the least of these my brethren, ye have done it unto me. Then shall he say also unto them on the left, Depart from me, ye cursed, into everlasting fire prepared for the devil and his angels. For I was a hungered, and ye gave me no meat. I was thirsty, and you gave me no drink. I was a stranger, and you took me not in. Naked, and you clothed me not. Sick and in prison, you visited me not. What is the Lord's answer there? What do you think the Lord's answer is there? What is the Lord's answer there? Then they also answered him, saying, Lord, when we saw thee an hungered or thirst or a stranger, or naked or sick or in prison, and did not minister unto thee? And then he shall answer them, saying, Verily I say unto you, inasmuch as ye did it not to one of the least of these, ye did it not to me. That's where little Timmy went off to the market. He did not understand the scripture. Little Timmy and his woman running mate are going to be cast into hell. Ye did it not to one of the least of these, ye did it not to me. And these shall go away into everlasting punishment, but the righteous into life eternal. Little Timmy and Miss Kamala don't have one clue where they're at. Little Timmy, evil Timmy, should not even have attempted to quote scripture he knew nothing about. That's why I brought this scripture with us today. Number one, little Timmy went to market and did not know what the scripture even meant. I have read to you the entire scripture, now you know what it means. The people on the left are going to be cast out to everlasting punishment. Those that are on the right, righteous into life eternal. Where do we stand? Where do we stand, brothers and sisters? Are we on the right with God, ready to inherit eternal life, which gift is the greatest of all gifts of God? Or are we going to be falling to the left with little Timmy and little Miss Harris and be cast out forever? Where they belong. Because little Timmy and Miss Harris don't know what they're talking about. They never have. Brothers and sisters, I love you. I care deeply for you. That's why I go to such lengths to make sure that we understand the scriptures and we understand what's going on around us. That's why we're here. To understand what is going on around us so we will be ready when the time comes. That we will have our preparations together when the time comes. Tomorrow night we will review all areas of the world, including Iceland. We will review what's going on in Southern California. We will review what's going on the Pneumatic Fault. We will talk more about the Pacific Northwest as well. On Friday, we're going to have Preparedness Friday. We've been having Preparedness Friday for quite some time. Come Friday, between now and Friday, come with questions that you want to ask of me about preparedness. All manner of preparedness for floods and rain, tornadoes and hurricanes, volcanoes and earthquakes. I am here for you. I love you. I care about you. Please, folks, please share this program with everybody you know. Share this program with everybody you know. Your friends, your neighbors, your family and extended family. Share this program with the people you know on social media and the people you work with. Please help us grow this channel. Please help us grow this channel. If you're not members of this channel, or you're not subscribed to this channel, please subscribe and also become a member of the Emergency Management Associates family. We'd love to have you. When you are subscribed, also check your subscription and make sure you're still getting notified about when we come on this program. If you're not being notified, go back, unsubscribe, and immediately resubscribe. And when you resubscribe, click on that little bell icon. Right next to the subscription button, there's a little bell icon. Click on that. When you click on that bell icon, a drop-down menu of 3 items will pop up. Click on the word ALL. That should get you notified when we come on the air. Be advised, YouTube doesn't care about it. YouTube doesn't like me. That for whatever reason, I don't care anymore. But they may not notify you every time we come on the air. Rest assured, sometime after 6 p.m. Eastern Time, every day, Monday through Friday, we come on the air. After 12 noon on Sunday, we come on the air with Come Follow Me, the Savior Said, a weekly Sunday school class on Sunday. I love the gospel of Jesus Christ because I know it's a power of God to salvation for everyone, to the Jew first and also to the Greek. Romans 1:16. The gospel of Jesus Christ is for everyone. Please share it with everyone you know, and you will be blessed. Please share it with everybody you know, you will be blessed. Prayers out to Linda Covington. Still, she needs our help and our prayers. We want to thank Linda Covington for being here earlier. We love her very much. She's a member of our family. Please, folks, be here or be square. Arnold Schmidt says, listen with your spiritual ears and try not to comprehend the whispers, or not try to comprehend the whispers of the Holy Spirit with your intelligence. Comprehend the whispering of the Holy Spirit to your brain, to your soul. Comprehend the whispers of the Spirit to your soul, and you'll be blessed. Rob 52 is sharing the scripture in chat, Philippians 4, verse 13. I can do all things through Christ. Amen to that. I love you, brothers and sisters. I hope you have a good rest of the day. If anything else happens tonight, we'll be back here with you to talk about it as soon as the information becomes available. Until then, I hope you have a good night and a better tomorrow. Folks, tell everybody about our program, please. We'd appreciate it. God be with you until we meet again. We will see you on the other side. Good night, everybody. Much love.